Hi, welcome to the My Elite Career Podcast with me, Sue Parker, or Empowered Leaders in Tech, where it's all about helping unseen IT professionals to become connected to the work that you do, to build a life that you love so you can wake up motivated, you can come home feeling really fulfilled. Today, I really want to talk to you all about being unseen, that being unrecognized, why that happens, and what kind of things you can do to get out from the shadows, to step forward. And yes, they will be challenging. Anything that's worth doing, what they say, anything that's worth having, doing, or being is always hard work. That's just the nature of it. There's usually a lot of learned behavior and conditioning that makes us follow the rules and stay unseen and unrecognized. And we don't realize that because we've been doing it all our lives. You know, at home, your parents will have told you to follow the rules, to not step out of line. When you've gone to visit grandparents, maybe you were asked to sit quietly on the sofa and drink your drink, but not answer back, not jump around, not go playing with those toys noisily. Perhaps when you were at school, you had to put up your hand, you had to answer the questions, it was right or wrong, it was very black and white, there was no middle ground, there was no suggestion for critical thinking or asking 1,000,001 questions about why that should be the case. And the reality is, it's no surprise that we all blend in. Most of us are unseen or unrecognized because most of the time, if you stood out, you were the bad kid at school or you were the one getting the answers wrong. You know, it's very black and white, isn't it? All the way through schooling. You answer the questions, you answer when told, you have a definite right or wrong answer. And if you felt like you wanted to ask, well, why is it? And what about this suggestion as an alternative? You stood out. You were the one challenging the teacher or answering back. So for many of us, conforming was deemed as being polite, and following the rules was the right thing to do. So saying yes, being agreeable, and thinking there is only one right answer is something that we're just set up for throughout that. And then you get to college and university, and some places will ask you then to start doing that critical thinking, to start asking why. But many of those questions were beaten out of us when we were kids. Liz had a great TEDx talk, I'll put the link underneath this video, about curiosity. She said that when you were 5 years old, you were asking hundreds of questions a day. And in a short period of time, you can ask, I can't remember how many minutes, I'll check out on the video again, but you can be asking 100 questions every half hour if you're a 5-year-old. And my son does this now. You know, he will bombard us with questions. And I keep reminding myself, this is good. Keep allowing him to do it. Because as soon as we say, because it just is, stop asking, that's the end of it. Because as soon as we stop that curiosity, that critical thinking, we're losing some of the vital skills that he will need in order to survive in the world now. You know, we need innovation. We need fast responses. We need critical thinking to assess which way is potentially the best route to take. And there kind of is no right or wrong way, is there? There are winners and losers in some situations, but that doesn't mean that they did anything fundamentally wrong. It just meant they made a poor judgment at a time based on the information they got. And your decisions can only ever be made based on the decisions you have at the time. So why do we go unseen and unrecognized? Because we're being agreeable. We were always taught to be agreeable. Don't answer back. Don't challenge the rules. You were conforming. You were saying the right things. You were saying the same answers as everybody else, and that's what we all did at school. And yet now we need to step outside. We need to remember there's a person deep down inside us. We've got to relearn how to get them back out, asking the questions, speaking up, standing out, challenging their leaders and challenging their colleagues, and working with people to get the right solutions. And that does mean being critical. That does mean asking those deep questions. And sometimes we feel that when we ask those questions, people are defensive. They will close up, or people will challenge us and we feel like we're being threatened or criticized, and nobody ever wants to feel criticized. And it's that balancing act between having influence over somebody by not making them feel criticized, by showing them encouragement, engagement, appreciation. Now, if you think back, I bet you can identify key areas in your childhood where you, or even in your first job, where you challenging something wasn't greeted with a nice response. So you stopped doing it and you started being more agreeable, or you started realizing and recognizing patterns where the people that leapfrogged you and progressed were the people that seemed to get on and say yes all the time. But the world has changed. Things are changing. We do need a lot more critical thinkers. We need people to challenge our leaders and give them the expert advice to have that level of influence and be innovative and suggest alternative paths that might need considering or risks and issues. The challenge for you is to make sure you do that. You have that level of influence without making somebody else feel like they're being criticized. It's almost the suggestion of what have they noticed and asking the questions to help them see what it is that you are identifying with or you can see or want to highlight without pointing out that the other person has missed something. Remember, there's a lot of ego at stake, and in order to influence people, they don't want to feel like they're being criticized, like they're being wrong. It's about challenging them in a way that helps them to grow their perspective and them to see it for themselves. Now you can see how being unseen, blending in and doing the right thing with everyone else is no bad thing. In fact, it was the way it was always intended to be. But the world has changed and there is a real you under there. Unleash that person and let everybody else see what skills, what contribution that you have to offer, because we need that right now. Take care and have a fantastic week. Speak to you soon.